Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Over the weekend that just went by, a small village in Nagaland witnessed shocking scenes. 14 civilians were killed in firing by the armed forces. A vehicle sped past an army checkpost, prompting the forces on duty to open fire, killing 6 on the spot. But it was a case of mistaken identity, as admitted by Union Home Minister today on the floor of Parliament. The repercussions of that night spilled over onto the next day when an army camp came under attack of an angry mob. Forces opened fire in self-defense and 7 more people were killed. Listen in to what Home Minister Amit Shah told Parliament earlier today.
अम्बुश के दौरान एक वाहन अम्बुश के स्थान के समीप पहुंचा। उसे रुकने का इशारा और प्रयास किया गया। रुकने की बजाय वाहन द्वारा उस जगह से तेजी से निकलने का प्रयास किया गया, जिसके उपरांत इस आशंका पर कि वाहन में संदिग्ध विद्रोही जा रहे थे, वाहन पर गोली चलाई गई, जिससे वाहन में सवार 8 व्यक्तियों में से 6 व्यक्तियों की मृत्यु हुई। बाद में एक गलत पहचान का मामला पाया गया। यह समाचार प्राप्त होने के बाद स्थानिक ग्रामीणों ने सेना की टुकड़ी को घेर लिया, 2 वाहनों को जला दिया और उन पर हमला किया। इसके परिणाम स्वरूप सुरक्षा बल के एक जवान की मृत्यु हो गई तथा कई अन्य जवान घायल हो गए। अपनी सुरक्षा में तथा भीड़ को तितर-बितर करने के लिए सुरक्षा बलों को गोली चलानी पड़ी, जिससे 7 और नागरिकों की मृत्यु हो गई तथा कुछ अन्य घायल हो गए।
So the legitimate question that I want to ask tonight is simply this: is the BJP in a tight spot after this incident in Nagaland as far as the Northeast is concerned? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the debate, Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, Major General G.D. Bakshi, defense expert. Also with me, Sanjay Jha, suspended Congress leader. But my first question goes to Kakoli Ghosh Dastidar, Member of Parliament of the Trinamool Congress. Kakoli Di, I want to ask you a simple question. Unfortunate what happened in Nagaland. Absolutely unfortunate. The government has set up a special investigation team and the Home Minister has promised action as soon as the report is in. Do you think it's necessary to make this entire incident political rather than finding solutions on how to calm the situation, because that seems to be the paramount need at this time?
You see, what I would like to get at is this very regretful situation. We are deeply anguished by the lives lost, and as the Honorable Home Minister has said that it was a mistake, he said it on the floor of the House. But this kind of situation is not one stray incident. It is deep-rooted because these people, particularly the 8 sister states of the East, have been neglected for so long that there is a kind of an animosity of the local people against the central government all the time. And this deep-rooted problem can only be taken care of if their anguish or their demands are met. There is no development there. And this has been going on for so long. The Naga Accord has not been signed if you take the case of Nagaland. But similar situation exists in the neighboring states also. There is no development, there is no education. That is why the youth can come out with machetes and chop off the head or try to chop off the head of the army. Even the army boys have been injured. They are fighting for their lives. So this is not done in the country. In our country, instead of looking at this as a stray incident, they have to go much deeper into the solution and find out about the accord and for development of the northeastern states. Whereas we express our condolence to the bereaved families, We also demand from the government punishment for the erring, the people who have been at it, whether it is the army, whether it is the civilian information, where they got the information from, we don't know. And particularly the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. It has seen so much of animosity from the people of the Northeast. This should be repealed because this is affecting the people adversely. And they are getting a very negative feeling regarding the constitution, about the central government. The central government, without doing politics, they should stand by the people of the Northeast, particularly those states where this Armed Forces Special Act is there.
You raised the question of the AFSPA, the Armed Forces Special Protection Act, and I want to ask General G.D. Bakshi on this specific question before I go on to Tuhin Sinha to answer the political part of the question raised by Kakolidi. I want to ask you, General G.D. Bakshi, can AFSPA be removed just like that? Is AFSPA the problem? A mistake has been made and it has been admitted to. An SIT has been set up and the perpetrators of these civilian killings has been promised that, action will be taken. But the fact of the matter is that politically, it seems to be the easiest demand to make, which is AFSPA hata do, sab theek ho jayega. Suddenly, there will be more faith that people of Northeast will have in the central government. Do you think it works that way? Is it such a simple solution at this moment that is being demanded by the opposition? General G.D. Bakshi.
Look, Navika, at the very outset, let me make it very plain. It's been a tragic, not just a sad, a tragic incident of mistaken identity, as you can't rip it off from the context, right? And see it in isolation, the incident. You know that there was an ambush, an officer was killed, his wife and child were killed, 6 Jawans were killed. And quite obviously the security forces there were under enormous pressure to get the culprits to sort of retaliate, to come down hard on the perpetrators, and they were looking for them. They are supplied intelligence, and they are not in a position to question that intelligence. So they lay that ambush. The vehicle in question comes there. And when asked to stop, it looks like what is evasive action and tries to get away, which only strengthens the suspicion. And they can't subsequently say that, oh, because it ran away, we let it go. So quite obviously they opened fire. Very tragic, but I have seen this happen. I have spent half my life in such counter-terrorist, counter-insurgency operations, mostly in J&K, and I know the terrible decision dilemmas. You are damned if you do, you are damned if you don't. Apropos the question of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act being the whole source of the problem, I'm sorry. Once again, see it in context. You brought in the army, once the police failed, the paramilitary forces failed, then you brought in the army. You want them to operate outside a legal ambit? This Armed Forces Special Powers Act provides the legal ambit. I hope you know in the CRPC, you cannot take action against a police officer acting in good faith. All right? So here you want the army to operate without that minimal legal cover, open to the wolves, right? Firstly they fight, they risk their life and limb, and then after they retire, they are supposed to keep coming back to a state 1,000, 2,000 miles from their home, when their commanding officer have all retired and gone, to face trial after trial, court hearing after court hearing. It's not fair. They didn't ask to be posted there. They are not there on a tourism exercise. They were sent in when everything else failed. So they have to operate within the ambit of the law with the minimal protection that is available to the police. So to say that you take away the Armed Forces Special Powers Act and everything will become normal. You see, in Mizoram, we were able to bring the thing to a complete satisfactory conclusion because there was just one opposition group, Lal Dengar.
Well, let me get in Sanjay Jha. Let me get in Sanjay Jha. It's not, as General G.D. Bakshi says.
I'll just finish.
I'm running out of time, General G.D. Bakshi. Sorry for that.
I'll just finish. You know, there are multiple groups in Nagaland and Manipur now. Whom do we talk to?
Absolutely. That's the problem. And Sanjay Jha removing AFSPA just because, the opposition wants, and then having the army there because you'll otherwise blame that there is no security situation over there. And for 5 years there was absolute peace in that region, and suddenly you had something between Assam and Mizoram, and then this incident in Nagaland where security forces also have suffered losses. Now it's a case of either bad intelligence or an operation gone wrong. It happens. Nobody's condoning what happened, but these things, as you say, we are anchoring, we are all working. Losses for political parties in different elections happen. It's not what you do, happens. Mistakes happen. Now to do this and to make it political about AFSPA, do you think that finds a solution to the problem?
Navika, first a correction. You keep saying the opposition wants AFSPA to be removed. I have heard 3 chief ministers from the Northeast, all of them part of a BJP coalition, who have publicly stated that AFSPA should be removed. I want to know what is the political hypocrisy of Mr. Modi's government. I'll give you an example, Navika. You remember last year, one man called George Floyd was killed by a cop in America. It brought the country up because you talked about an abuse of the power. You're talking here about 13 ordinary civilians dead. It's like somebody just walking in right now in the Times Now studio or to each of our homes, and General Bakshi and the lady in TMC and Tuhin and I get killed because somebody just thought that we were all some kind of terrorists trying to hatch a conspiracy. It's ridiculous.
Fair point.
It's ridiculous.
Fair point. Tuhin Sinha, it's not just the opposition. It's not just the opposition. Your allies are asking, is the BJP in a catch-22 situation? Are you being hypocritical is the question.
Some time to explain.
No, Navika,
there is no doubt.
Mizoram, Tripura and Nagaland are burning, and they had fights amongst themselves.
I know, Sanjay Jha, I'm not being able to do justice to the debate, but I'm awfully short of time, so I'll have to give some time to Tuhin to respond.
There is no denying that this is one of the saddest tragedies in recent history. Having said that, we have initiated due action, and the Honorable Home Minister has stated that in Parliament. Now, I want to tell Sanjay Jha over here that in the last 7.5 years, in three states of the Northeast, AFSPA has been removed. Tripura entirely, Meghalaya entirely, and in 9 districts of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, removal of AFSPA cannot be an emotional decision. It will have to be based on a realistic evaluation of the security situation prevailing at a given point of time. Assam, for example, believes that AFSPA is absolutely essential. And AFSPA anyway was brought in 1958 by a Congress government. Why? Because, at that point of time, maybe, they were not led to believe that emotions could dictate national security concerns. So depending on the situation in a given state, we will take a practical call, but emotions can't dictate the call. And when Sanjay makes it political, I want to remind him that unlike 5th March 1966, where Indira Gandhi got IAF to bomb Aizawl on mere suspicion of subversive activities leading to massive death.
Let's not go back to the 60s, Tuhin Sinha. Let's not go back to Indira Gandhi. We have a problem. The government recognizes the problem. The issue of AFSPA has been brought up. As Tuhin Sinha said, it's been removed in 3 states, in parts of Arunachal, Meghalaya, and other states, and Tripura in the Northeast. And I think logically what he says makes a lot of sense. That removal of AFSPA cannot be an emotional decision. It will have to be based on an analysis and a critical analysis of the security situation. And as the government has said, that it was a mistake, apologized for it, and investigations going on. The guilty will be brought to book. Let's wait for the SIT to submit its report. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow.